We're diving straight into the fascinating world of twins in mythology today. That primal image, two beings so alike yet distinct, it really grabs you.
It really does.
And it gets even more intriguing when you look at figures like Castor and Pollux. I mean, here are two brothers right at the heart of so many ancient stories, but with this incredible fundamental difference between them. One was mortal and one was divine.
Yeah, that contrast is exactly what makes their story so compelling, I think. This deep dive is all about unpacking the layers of myth surrounding them.
Right.
We've gathered classical sources to explore their beginnings, their legendary exploits, and, well, ultimately, their enduring significance in the ancient world.
And there's a lot out there, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. There's a wealth of material, sometimes contradictory stuff, too. We're aiming to highlight the details that truly illuminate their impact and maybe even surprise you along the way.
Sounds good. So let's start at the very beginning, their birth. It's almost, well, comical how even the ancient writers couldn't quite agree on who their father was.
Yeah, that's true.
Homer, in the earliest accounts, sort of just says, both sons of Tyndareus, the Spartan king. Seems straightforward enough.
It does in that early tradition. But then later accounts, especially from Hesiod and then Pindar, they introduce a really significant twist.
Okay.
They propose that while Castor was indeed the son of Tyndareus, Pollux was actually fathered by Zeus himself.
Okay. The old Zeus intervention.
Exactly. This idea of heteropaternal superfecundation twins with different fathers. It's a fascinating reflection of how these myths developed, became more complex over time. Maybe to explain Pollux's inherent divinity.
One divine dad, one mortal dad.
Right.
That immediately sets up the whole mortality dynamic we'll need to dig into. And wasn't there also this really powerful image of them being born from an egg, along with their sisters, Helen and Clytemnestra?
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge part of it.
Talk about an entrance that sticks in your mind.
For sure. The myth of Leda and the swan, Zeus in disguise, laying eggs from which these iconic figures hatched. It's incredibly potent imagery.
Yeah.
It really reinforces their extraordinary nature, regardless of the specifics of their earthly father. And it's worth noting the various names they were known by, too.
Oy.
Well, Dioscuri, meaning sons of Zeus, became a common way to refer to both of them, even Castor, interestingly.
Huh, okay.
Then you have the simple Gemini, just highlighting their twinship, and the more formal Kindarids, acknowledging Tyndareus.
So different names depending on the angle you're looking from, parentage or just the twin thing.
Exactly. It shows how both their parentage and their shared identity were viewed.
Right. So keeping this mixed parentage in mind, let's tackle the big question. Who lived and who? Well, didn't initially. Because their mortality seems to be another point where the stories kind of shift over time.
That's a crucial aspect, yeah, how their story evolves. In Homer's Iliad, there's actually a bit where Helen looks for her brothers among the Greek forces, and she's told they're already dead and buried back in Sparta.
Oh, wow. So both mortal in that version.
Seems like it. That suggests an early tradition where both were considered, entirely mortal heroes. But then if you look later at the Odyssey, we find them alive, although in this very unique situation, they live on alternate days, thanks to Zeus stepping in.
Alternate days. That's such a vivid picture, like sharing a life across two worlds.
It really is. And it hints at this growing recognition of Pollux's divine nature and, well, a desire to keep the twins connected somehow.
So what prompted that shift? How did Pollux, being Zeus's son, end up in this kind of half-life with his mortal brother?
Well, Pollux's divine parentage inherently gave him immortality. The later and probably more famous story revolves around Castor's death in a fight, which we'll get to.
Okay.
Pollux was understandably devastated. He basically begged Zeus to let them stay together.
And Zeus agreed.
Zeus, recognizing this incredible bond, offered a compromise. They would share immortality, spend one day on Mount Olympus with the gods, the next in Hades, the underworld.
Wow. That's powerful. Brotherly love, literally conquering death.
Exactly. It's central to their enduring appeal, I think.
Yeah.
Really speaks to that ancient Greek ideal of, fraternal loyalty. And of course, this alternating existence is beautifully mirrored in their transformation into the constellation Gemini, up there together in the night sky forever.
From alternating between Olympus and Hades to shining eternally together in the cosmos, what a symbol of their bond.
Definitely.
But they weren't just up there in the stars, were they? They had very real roles, responsibilities down here in the mortal world.
Oh, absolutely. The Dioscuri were deeply involved in human affairs. They were hugely revered as helpers of mankind, especially as patrons of travelers.
Travelers, okay.
Sailors, in particular, really looked to them for protection during dangerous voyages. You know, the phenomenon St. Elmo's fire?
That eerie glow on ships' masts.
Yeah. Well, seeing that during a storm was seen as a really positive sign, like a manifestation of their presence, a promise of their help.
So for ancient sailors, seeing that was like, okay, the Dioscuri are here, we might be all right. Direct divine protection.
Pretty much, yeah, in the midst of danger.
And you mentioned they were also linked with horsemanship and boxing. That's quite a range of skill.
It is. Their skill with horses probably connects back to some older Indo-European traditions of divine horse twins. They were always shown as amazing riders in art.
Right.
And Pollux's legendary boxing skill, famously shown when he beat King Amycus during the Argonaut expedition that cemented their link to athletics and contests.
Ah, the Argonauts. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So basically, people saw them as patrons of athletes. They believed the twins would step in during moments of crisis, for those who honored them in sports or other competitions.
So it highlights that Greek value on physical skill and how the gods might favor certain athletes.
Absolutely. Divine favor could be bestowed on prowess.
Okay, so these weren't just distant gods. They were actively involved. Which brings us to their famous mythological adventures. They were kind of the superheroes of their time, weren't they?
In many ways, yes. You see them in the Caledonian boar hunt alongside other big-name heroes. That alone shows their status.
Right.
And their role as Argonauts, joining Jason's crew on the Argo, is packed with important events.
Like the boxing match you mentioned.
Exactly. Pollux versus the arrogant King Amycus. It's a classic story of skill and courage beating brute force. And also, after the voyage, they helped get revenge for Jason against the treacherous King Peleus. Shows their commitment to justice.
So, good team players, skilled fighters, definitely on the side of right. What other big adventures are they known for? I think I remember something about them rescuing Helen before the whole Trojan War mess.
That's right. Before Paris even showed up, Helen was actually abducted by Theseus.
Theseus, the Minotaur guy.
The very same. Her brothers, Castor and Pollux, being devoted, didn't mess around. They launched an invasion of Attica, rescued Helen, and then, as payback, they abducted Theseus' mother, Aethra, and took her back to Sparta.
Whoa, okay. Didn't hold back.
Not at all. They even put Menestheus, a rival of Theseus, on the Athenian throne. Aethra did eventually get home after Troy fell, thanks to her grandsons.
Wow.
But yeah, this whole episode really highlights their fierce loyalty to family, especially Helen, and their willingness to take pretty decisive, even aggressive action.
Clearly a force to be reckoned with. Now, this is all very action-packed, but their story takes a darker turn, doesn't it? With the Leucipides and their cousins. This is where Castor's mortality really becomes central.
Precisely. This is the big one. Castor and Pollux both wanted to marry Phoebe and Hilaria, the daughters of Leucippus. The Leucipides, as they were known.
Okay.
But, these women were already betrothed to their cousins, Lynceus and Idas.
Cousins of Castor and Pollux.
Yeah, sons of Aphareus, who was Tyndareus' brother. So family feud brewing.
Right. What did Castor and Pollux do?
Well, they ended up abducting the Leucipides and marrying them anyway, which, as you can imagine, didn't exactly smooth things over with Lynceus and Idas.
No, I bet not. A classic family dispute spiraling. So, what happened next? This is where the cattle raid comes in and that weird roasted calf thing.
Yes, exactly. The four cousins went on a cattle raid together in Arcadia, but then they argued about how to split the loot.
Figures.
So Idas, who is known for being pretty sharp, proposed this bizarre challenge. Butcher a calf, and the first pair to finish eating their portion gets to divide the whole herd in two, not four.
Wait, an eating contest for cattle?
Yep. And Idas and Lynceus apparently scarfed theirs down super fast, basically tricking Castor and Pollux out of their fair share.
Huh. You'd think heroes with a divine connection might be smarter than that.
You'd think. But they were outsmarted here, and naturally they weren't happy about it. They vowed revenge.
Okay, so this trickery sets the stage for more trouble, especially with Helen's abduction later.
It does, indirectly. Sometime later, Idas and Lynceus visit Sparta, visit their uncle Tyndareus. He's away, though, so Helen is playing host.
Oh.
And Paris of Troy happens to be a guest at the same time. Meanwhile, Castor and Pollux, maybe still looking for payback over the cattle. They make an excuse to leave the feast, planning to steal their cousin's herd. Then Idas and Lynceus leave, too.
leaving Helen alone with Paris.
Exactly, which, as we all know, leads to her abduction and eventually the Trojan War. So in a twisted way, the Dioscuri's feud with their cousins helped create the situation for the war.
Wow. A stolen herd, bad timing. Boom. Trojan War. Mythology loves its tangled webs.
Doesn't just.
But the central tragedy here is what finally happens between the cousins. It ends badly, right? With death.
Tragically, yes. Castor and Pollux eventually confronted Idas and Lynceus. During the fight, Lynceus, who was famous for having incredibly sharp eyesight, spotted Castor hiding.
Oh, no.
Idas then ambushed Castor and fatally wounded him with a spear, but Castor managed to warn Pollux just before he died.
And
Pollux, furious and grieving, went after Lynceus and killed him. Then, just as Idas was about to kill Pollux,
Zeus again.
A thunderbolt took Idas out, saving his divine son.
Lightning from the big guy definitely settles it. But this leaves Pollux alive, immortal, and his mortal twin brother dead.
Yeah.
And this is where that incredible act of brotherly love comes in, the sharing of immortality we talked about earlier.
Exactly. Faced with losing Castor forever, Pollux was given that choice by Zeus.
Yeah.
Eternal bliss on Olympus alone, or somehow sharing his divinity.
And he chose his brother.
Without hesitation, he chose to share, which led to that alternating existence, Olympus one day, Hades the next, a powerful testament to their bond.
It's amazing.
And as we said, it's immortalized in the constellation Gemini. It's also significant, I think, that they were initiated into the Eleusinian mysteries.
The rites about death and rebirth.
Exactly. Underscores the whole theme of their mortality and immortality. And some traditions even say Poseidon, god of the sea, gave them special horses and the power to help shipwrecked sailors, linking back to their role as protectors.
It's such a resonant story, that diversion, and clearly it hit home in the ancient world, given how often you see them in art. Let's talk iconography. How are they usually shown?
Very consistently, actually. Across sculptures, vase paintings, you name it. They're almost always shown as young, athletic guys.
Okay.
Helmeted horsemen, usually carrying spears. Really emphasizes their warrior side and that horse connection. There's even an old manuscript describing them hunting, both on horseback and on foot. Shows their all-around hero skills.
Helmeted, speared horsemen action heroes, like I said. What about other symbols? You mentioned Dokana before.
Ah, yes, the Dokana. That's a key symbol, directly representing their twin ship. It looks like two upright wooden beams connected by cross beams.
Visually showing their connection.
Exactly, an inseparable link. Beyond that, you often see pairs of things with them. Amphorae, those are old storage jars. Free shields, even snakes sometimes, all reinforcing that dual nature. And they often wear these distinctive felt caps called pilos.
The caps, right. Sometimes with stars.
Sometimes with stars above them, yeah. And this is often linked back to the myth of being born from an egg. The rounded pilos is thought to maybe represent the halves of the eggshell.
Ah, clever. So the hats are a constant visual reminder of their weird birth story.
Pretty much.
And you mentioned melodios from Delphi. Those are like carved panels on temples, right? What do they show?
Yeah, exactly. The melodios from Delphi, these sculpted panels, show key scenes from their myths. Specifically, you see them on the voyage of the Argo, and another one showing them rustling cattle with Idas and Lynceus. So, the big adventures.
So these carvings help tell the stories to everyone.
Definitely. Offers great insight into how the myths were shared. And it's interesting, we also have a written description of what they look like from Darius Phrygius.
Oh, really? What did he say?
Describes them as blonde-haired, big eyes, fair skin, well-built, gives you a clearer picture of how people imagine them.
From stone carvings to detailed descriptions, they were clearly a big deal. Which is reflected in all the shrines and religious rites for them, right? People actively worshipped them.
Oh, absolutely. The Dioscuries were widely worshipped by both Greeks and Romans. They had major temples like the Anikian in Athens and a really important one right in the Roman Forum, plus loads of smaller shrines everywhere.
It's especially important in Sparta.
Hugely important in Sparta. They were linked to Sparta's unique setup with two kings.
The dual kingship, right.
Yeah, and that Dokana symbol we mentioned, they actually carried it in front of the Spartan army like a protective banner. Some people even think the whole two-king system was inspired by the divine twins.
Wow.
Their main shrine, her shrine that's a shrine for a hero, was near Sparta, at Therapne, called the Menelaean. Tradition said Helen, Menelaus, and the twins were buried there. Castor also had his own following up north in Greece.
So both powerful gods and local heroes with strong ties. What kinds of rituals did people do for them?
Well, they got honored in ways fitting both gods on Olympus' big sacrifices and as dead heroes down in Hades, which meant pouring libations like wine offerings.
Covering both bases.
Exactly. Lots of little shrines to them, and Helen dotted the Spartan landscape. The pear tree was sacred to them in Sparta. People would hang little images of the twins and the branches as offerings.
A sacred pear tree.
Yeah. And the standard Spartan oath was by the two gods. That really shows how central they were.
Definitely.
There was also this specific rite called the oxenia. It means God entertaining.
God entertaining. How does that work?
People would set out tables with food, basically inviting the Dioscuri to join them for a meal. Symbolically, of course, either in private homes or public sanctuaries. It was a more intimate kind of worship. Quite distinct.
Like leaving out cookies for Santa, but for Greek gods.
Sort of. And their frequent depiction as attendants of a goddess suggests links to male initiation societies, maybe tied to the Anatolian great goddess or the gods of Samothrace, shows they were woven into broader religious life. And Athens had its own annual festival for them, the Anikia.
From solemn oaths to sacred trees to leaving out snacks, they were really part of everyday life, and their influence went beyond Greece, didn't it? Their legacy spread.
Oh, definitely. You had a whole city on the Black Sea coast named Dioscurius after them.
Wow.
Even the Greek name for the island of Socotra was Dioscoridou, island of the Dioscuri. And there's a great Roman story explaining the family name Ahenobarbus or Aenobarbus.
Meaning?
Brazen-bearded or bronze-bearded. Legend says the Dioscuri appeared to an ancestor, told him about a big Roman victory.
Okay.
And then, as proof, they stroked his hair and beard, and it miraculously turned reddish bronze.
That's one way to prove you've met a god. A rather unforgettable souvenir.
You wouldn't forget that, no.
And it seems this idea of divine twins wasn't just Greek and Roman.
That's right. You see clear parallels in other Indo-European cultures, suggesting a really old shared heritage, like the Vedic Ashvins in India, the Lithuanian Ivienii, maybe the Germanic Elsis.
So variations on a theme across cultures.
Exactly. And the Etruscans, who were in Italy before Rome really took off, they worshipped them too. Call them Castor and Pollux, sons of Tenia, their version of Zeus. They had their own art and symbols for them.
So the idea was already there in Italy.
Yeah, their reverence spread early in Italy and the Roman Empire, probably through the Greek colonies in the south, Magna Graecia. We found a really old inscription at Lavinium that points to this.
So this archetype really resonated, and in Rome itself, they became super important, especially for the military.
Absolutely. The Temple of Castor and Pollux, the Roman Forum, was built really early in the Republic, right after the legendary Battle of Lake Regillus.
Why then?
Because the story goes that the twins themselves showed up on white horses, fought for Rome, and brought the news of the victory back to the city.
Okay, that would definitely get you a temple.
Right. And because of the horse connection, they were especially popular with the Roman cavalry, the Equidates.
Makes sense.
Their feast day, July 15th, was a huge deal. There was this massive annual parade of thousands of cavalry riders through Rome, even in the Circus Maximus, the chariot racing track.
Yeah.
They used eggs as lap counters. A little nod to their birth from an egg.
Subtle, but it's there.
And it's funny, in the Roman comedies by Plautus, you see this pattern where women tend to swear oaths by Castor and men swear by Pollux.
Really? Gendered swearing. That's fascinating.
Isn't it? So from battlefield miracles to everyday slang and even racetrack counters, they were just woven into Roman life.
And it's amazing how even when Christianity came along, they didn't just disappear.
Indeed. Even after the empire became officially Christian, their worship kind of persisted among the people. Pope Gelasius I, way back in the 5th century AD, complained that people didn't want to give up the cult of castors.
Stubborn followers.
Seems so. In some cases, they seem to have been sort of blended, syncretized. Their images or attributes got subtly absorbed into early Christian art. The church definitely tried to replace them, though.
How so?
Promoting Christian pairs, like Saints Peter and Paul as patrons of travelers instead of the Dioscuri. Or the healing saints, Cosmas and Damian, who were also twins. Some scholars even think there might be hidden links between the Dioscuri and other pairs of early Christian saints.
It's like the archetype was so strong it just found new forms. And you mentioned a theory linking them to the New Testament. That sounds wild.
Yeah, New Testament scholar Dennis MacDonald has this theory. It's quite compelling, actually. He suggests Castor and Pollux might have served as literary models for James and John, the apostles called the Sons of Thunder in the Gospel of Mark.
Sons of Thunder, like Zeus's thunderbolts.
Exactly. He calls it early Christian Dioscurism. That thunder nickname echoes Zeus, Pollux's father. And interestingly, the Acts of the Apostles just casually mentions the Dioscuri as the figurehead on a ship carrying St. Paul.
Just like, oh yeah, the ship had Castor and Pollux on the front. No big deal.
Right. Shows they were still just a recognizable part of the world, even in that new religious context.
From ancient Greek myths to maybe influencing the Bible, their story really does echo through the ages. And those examples you mentioned, Etruscan mirrors, Egyptian carvings, Byzantine cloth, they really show how widespread this idea of divine male twins was wherever Greco-Roman culture touched.
Precisely. Those diverse artifacts are like tangible proof of how appealing and adaptable the Dioscuri archetype was across different times and places.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's crystal clear that Castor and Pollux were way more than just another old myth. Their intertwined stories, the shared parentage, the heroic deeds, the dramatic divine intervention, and ultimately that profound bond of brotherhood that even beat death, it left a huge lasting mark.
Indeed. Their unique dual nature, mortal and divine, their big roles as protectors and heroes, and that really powerful, poignant image of their shared destiny. It all fed into their incredible, long-lasting cultural impact.
And it really makes you wonder, what is it about this enduring fascination with twin figures like them? What does their story maybe reveal about how humans grapple with mortality, divinity, and that really unique, often complicated bond between brothers? It's definitely something to think about long after our deep dive-ins. Perhaps you, our listener, might even find echoes of this ancient, powerful myth in the stories and relationships shaping our world today.